私が恋人になれるわけないじゃん。無理無理じゃなかった。
Now at home, Renako is diligently studying by herself, enamored by the idea of potentially getting first in her year and how Satsuki would react then. Just as she happily thinks this, she reaches a mental roadblock, which makes her realize how difficult this endeavor really is. The idea of asking Satsuki briefly flashes in her head as she suddenly receives a message. Naturally, she assumes it must be Mai, but it was her, Ajisai. Now she's confused about how to even reply to the message asking if she's free. What if she's judged? But there's just no way. Ajisai would never. Sending over her truthful reply, Ajisai suddenly asks for a call. How much can an introvert take? Renako proceeds to fumble and pace about in her room, dreading the very existence of smartphone technology. The thought of Ajisai laughing at her phone skills enters her mind. The pressure's just too much. Surrendering to reality, Renako finally sends her reply. And so, Ajisai proceeds to ring Renako's phone. Picking it up, Renako panically says her hellos. It was then that Ajisai's voice rang out. She's glad for Renako to have picked up. She was worried she may have been a bother, and most importantly, her voice is angelic as ever. The newfound ecstasy of hearing Ajisai's voice so close to her ear has Renako finally calm enough to explain what she's been doing. Ajisai feels bad that she's interrupted her studying, but Renako quickly lies, saying she's already finished for the day. None the wiser, Ajisai breathes an angelic sigh of relief. Curious, Renako asks what came up for Ajisai to call her like this, but Ajisai simply says it was on a whim. Renako takes it as divine intervention and happily accepts this distraction from work. Renako then asks what Ajisai had been doing herself. It turns out she had just finished bathing, and as she was drying her hair, the thought of Renako spawned in her mind. Renako is shocked by the fact that Ajisai thinks about her while at home. Ajisai then confesses she thinks about Renako a lot, and Renako gets flustered by this, asking for clear examples. Embarrassed, Ajisai recounts how she'd listened to some hip music and wonder if Renako would like it as well. Taking this opportunity, Ajisai asks what sort of music Renako actually likes. Not wanting to say how she likes video game music, Renako turns the question around, asking Ajisai what she likes. Ajisai is shocked for a minute by the development. Renako is merciless though, turning it around again and asking what music she hates. The strange question gets a laugh out of the angel. Renako gets red at the angelic laughter, thinking how it's a level of carefree Ajisai doesn't show in school. Matching Renako's randomness, Ajisai proceeds to invite her to play a game. Renako is naturally confused, asking what game she has in mind. Ajisai brings up a game they apparently played before that can be done online. As Renako is answering monotonously, Ajisai suddenly responds with unwavering energy and affection. This pokes at Renako's heartstrings. Melting on the ground from the sound, she tells Ajisai not to say things like that again, but she simply goes to get her console. Renako then shares how this is actually the first time she's about to play online with a friend. Ajisai then proceeds to get a bit naughty, saying how she's taking Renako's first time. Renako is wide-eyed.
Why does that sound kinda lewd?
Recalling what they had talked about before, Ajisai asks when Renako plans to visit her house. Ajisai's sudden assertiveness has Renako thrown off a bit, but Ajisai can only chuckle. Considering how she's been turning down Ajisai, Renako doesn't really have a choice but to accept her invitation, saying she'd want to visit whenever. Ajisai tells her, though, that it can wait till after finals, since Renako and Satsuki are inseparable right now. Living up to her lover-girl personality, Renako reassures her and smoothly proclaims Ajisai as her number one. Ajisai's heart could barely take it as she turned speechless. She replies meekly, which Renako takes as her not believing in her words. Ajisai goes on to tell Renako not to say such misleading things to anyone. Not fully understanding, Renako cries, as usual. Nevertheless, Ajisai is happy about what Renako said and thanks her, calming Renako's poor heart. Thinking she hurt Renako's feelings by calling her misleading, Ajisai apologizes and says they can just have fun some other time, like during summer break. As expected, the kindness of Ajisai has Renako tearing up with joy. But it seems this phone call isn't over just yet, as Ajisai brings up how Renako is trying to get Mai and Satsuki to make up. She then asks her why she's trying so hard just for a measly fight. Renako doesn't answer immediately though, a bit shocked by how visible her desperation must have been for Ajisai to have noticed, but afterwards she answers honestly and plainly that she doesn't want her close friends fighting forever. Ajisai lowers her head to this revelation, also sharing how she saw Kaho approach Mai for the same reason. It's an amazing thing, and Ajisai thinks she's cold for not doing the same. Hearing this, Renako retorts that, if that were the case, Satsuki must have liquid nitrogen coursing through her veins. But apparently that's not what Ajisai means. Recently, she's been thinking of improving herself, to do things better, from her behavior, all the way to how she thinks about friends. Renako is surprised to hear how Ajisai thinks of these things that are so similar to her own thoughts. But actually, even this very phone call was an effort by Ajisai to be better. After all, she likes Renako, and she isn't afraid to confess it right now. I wouldn't either, considering how airheaded Renako is, see? She's giving thanks to the confession as if it were a business meeting. Anyway, Renako also proclaims her like towards Ajisai, although with slightly different intent. Ajisai crumples to the ground nonetheless and continues on to say how she'll work on her shyness moving forward. Of course, Renako simply smiles as she wishes her the best. Flash forward a couple of minutes, the console is finally booted up and it's time for game time, or at least it would have been if not for a new voice over the phone. Ajisai seems to be preoccupied with this mysterious voice as Renako thinks it's her little bro. As she continues to listen in, Ajisai's big sister energy is seeping through, much to Renako's utter delight. On the other side of things, Ajisai is fighting for her life to get her little bro off of her so she can play with her girl crush. But as any Asian kid would know, mom is the law, and her voice has joined the fray, forcing Ajisai to be responsible. And so, she says sorry to Renako as she must now put her sibling to sleep. Understandably, Renako doesn't mind at all. With Ajisai ending the call, Renako finds herself sitting by herself, contemplating the difficulty of having a little brother. She also contemplates what Ajisai said earlier, finding it hard to imagine how such a gentle girl could possibly be cold. Renako starts to have delusions about reincarnating as Ajisai's little sister, but just as she's thinking this, Ajisai sends over a text saying they probably won't be able to play. Again, Renako doesn't really mind as she plops on her bed, wishing Ajisai wouldn't be so worried all the time. Now that everything's passed, Renako slowly realizes how her energy reserves have been depleted from the long call. She squirms her way up her bed, thinking about Ajisai's words as she mimics a worm. Renako also contemplates how close she is to resolving the Satsuki versus Mai war. Also, when her match with Mai eventually concludes, what will her answer be that time? Suddenly, she channels all her remaining energy to sit up, with newfound motivation running through her to show up the blonde darling. If this is all she can do with her own two hands to show the power of being best friends, she'll work hard and study, all to do better moving forward, one step at a time.
私が恋人になれるわけないじゃん。無理無理。無理じゃなかった？
During a day in school, the unthinkable has happened. Mai is taking the initiative to talk with Satsuki. Ajisai and Kaho are celebrating, while Renako is dumbfounded as ever. The dots slowly connect inside her head as she realizes what's going on. As it turns out, Ajisai had talked to Mai earlier that day. Mai expresses her thanks to her for giving her the push needed to confront the issue, and Ajisai is just a little bit embarrassed by taking such praise. After all, it didn't come randomly to her. It was Renako who showed her the value of giving effort towards friends. Mai can't help but give Ajisai some good baby girl talk, as well as thank her for being such a great friend to her. Ajisai does the same, the two reveling in awesome friendship. Renako can only look in awe at the angelic synergy going on, a heavenly difference from her own friend level. Kaho, though, is just happy to take pics of the development. After all, this marks a great victory for the Mai-Aji ship pairing. What the hell is that, you may ask? Well, since the entrance ceremony, the Mai-Satsu ship and Mai-Aji ship have been battling for the best Mai pairing. Of course, Renako can't believe this, as this is all Yuri talk, but what can you do when all the popular boys already have girlfriends? All of a sudden, Kaho barks out loud to ask how Ajisai convinced Mai in the first place. Mai obliges with the storytelling. Ajisai is pushed into sharing her thoughts on how it was hard seeing two of her close friends acting so distant. It was her honesty that convinced Mai. In the end, it was Ajisai being selfish, and Mai being Mai enough to spoil her. Nevertheless, the sight has Renako enamored as Ajisai easily gathered her courage to get involved compared to how she simply gets involved to protect herself, which is strange considering Renako said the exact same thing as Ajisai in the last chapter. Even if she can get hurt, Ajisai is someone who can care for others while extending her own hand. She shows not only beauty on the outside, but also on the inside. Renako can't help but give compliments to her senpai in life, which Ajisai would rather not have. Mai continues her explanation to Kaho, stating she never realized how her actions could make others feel. Ajisai made her realize how her actions could affect her precious friends. Ajisai easily passes back the compliment, saying how commendable it is for her to decide to talk it out after just that. Renako critiques the compliment inside her head, thinking how Mai is far from mature, but in any case, Mai moves on and elects Renako as the witness for her talk with Satsuki. She even apologizes for potentially taking up her time, but Renako is too busy absorbing what was just said.
Why'd you bring me up?
Mai simply chuckles at the question. Of course, Renako is the only one who knows exactly what they're fighting about, so who else could it be? Mai asks Renako if this is too much for her, while Renako is conflicted as Satsuki was gonna apologize in a week anyway. But whatever the case, this is an opportunity made by Ajisai. She can't just let it go to waste. Looking towards Kaho, she asks, using her desperate eyes for some help.
I'll be real with you. This ain't my problem.
A truly commendable character. And so, Renako accepts the invitation. With a shaking body and heart, she tells her dear friends to leave everything to her, a role not at all suitable for such a weak girl. Sometime after school, the time has come, and Renako is side by side with Satsuki. Satsuki tells her it's fine as she states how much courage she gets just by having Renako there. Renako can't believe she said something so cheesy. And she's right, as Satsuki proceeds to spew out some scam-esque ad about how Renako makes her confident enough to buy lottery tickets, totally unserious and obviously a lie. Satsuki would never put her faith in such a vague bet like a lottery ticket. Having had her fill of the comedy routine, Satsuki clicks her tongue to signal its end. The heat is insane, she never would have stayed if not for Ajisai asking her to do so. Renako then wonders where Mai will lead them. Maybe some sort of comfy cafe, but Satsuki cautions her that a normal place like that is unlikely to be picked by such an enigma. They should only expect heaven or hell. Satsuki warns her further, saying she can't just keep getting shocked whenever Mai pulls something crazy. The gag is getting old after all. Mai runs purely on the desire to elicit a reaction, all the while having the best of intentions. They must stand strong if they want to survive. Renako has to learn from Satsuki, be stoic in the face of grandeur, and look down at whatever comes, but as it turns out, that way of doing things is what challenged Mai to spiral into the boss girl she ended up being. Just as the plot twist hits Renako, Mai's limousine pulls up. Considering how many times Renako has seen it, she's beginning to think there aren't any other cars in the country. Satsuki, though, just reminds her to stay calm. As the blonde princess comes out to greet them, Satsuki plainly tells her how she's late. Mai's attendant apologizes for the delay, and Satsuki awkwardly tells her it's not her fault. Renako then asks Mai where they're headed, but Mai simply smiles and says it'll be a perfect place for a talk. Now the two find themselves in just that sort of place, exactly as Satsuki predicted. Also, as predicted, Mai carries an insatiable amount of pride in her flaunting. But in any case, the place they find themselves in is none other than a full-on Japanese restaurant, the traditional kind, the kind high school girls rarely find themselves in. Also, Mai holds the food in this one in high regard. Naturally, Renako is confused why that would need to be said, but apparently, some traditional restaurants don't do a good job, and this one is just an exception. The class difference has Renako apologizing, but that's besides the case. Mai simply felt bad that she wasn't able to fulfill Renako's desire for a good dinner when she dragged her to that loud party before. A sweet sentiment, one that has Renako shocked. Thankfully, cutting through the sweet air, Satsuki simply declines the food, saying the two can eat after their discussion. With equal sharpness, Mai invites Renako for a meal after their discussion. Understandably, this is a painful invitation, as Renako knows Satsuki is suffering under poverty and it just doesn't feel right to eat while they send her home. On the other hand, Mai went through the trouble to set all this up just for her. Add to that, Renako doesn't naturally turn others down either. Seeing her girlfriend suffer mentally, Mai speaks up, saying that they could just eat another time. Since they have all the time in the world together, they may as well get down to business now. The pity she's just experienced has Renako's chest tightening in shame. How could Mai be so kind even after she betrayed her and dated Satsuki? Speaking of, she cares little for this charade and pushes the agenda.
You have something to say to me, right? Please get on with it.
Right, then let's talk.
Good morning, Renako.
Whoa! Ozdukamai! Morning.
Good morning, Ozduka-san. Hi, good morning.
Heyo! Good morning. She's still out there?
私が恋人になれるわけないじゃん。無理じゃなかった
So the time has come for the meeting between Mai and Satsuki. Will they finally make up with each other? Or is Renako's love triangle of doom gonna last just a little bit longer? Right off the bat, we start with Mai taking no responsibility for her actions while somehow apologizing all the same. On Satsuki's side, she only responds with coldness, which Mai knows all too well. Once again, Mai stresses how she would never intentionally hurt her, and this was all due to ignorance. With a serious face, Mai tells Satsuki that she can't change if she doesn't open up. Like a teacher lecturing a naughty student, Mai continues to bombard her with patronizing lines, all the while Satsuki keeps on blowing it all off. The situation has Renako feeling just a little bit off. Can't these two just get on with it? Renako proceeds to flat out say what got Satsuki angry, to which Satsuki responds with a harsh smack. Despite being in pain, Renako says it had to be done since she wasn't saying anything, but Satsuki really wanted Mai to figure things out by herself.
Not that there is something to figure out.
The tsundere line gets Renako cringing. Satsuki, though, proceeds to finally clear things up.
For the last time. It's not as if I like you or anything.
A truly tsundere moment, Renako makes sure to let Satsuki know of that fact, yet she just ain't having it. Satsuki continues, asking why Mai even thinks she likes her in the first place. Besides, of course, her obviously red cheeks as she's saying all this. With a glowing aura, Mai then starts with how Satsuki is constantly around her, almost like a bee to a flower. Also, Satsuki keeps on picking fights, like a little boy with a crush. Satsuki points out that Mai hasn't even been troubled by her, but Mai quickly refutes this as she's troubled this very moment. Renako herself starts piecing together this tsundere situation only to be stopped by another smack. Satsuki then says how she's no child, but an adult in both appearance and action. All of a sudden, Mai gets real and tells her she hasn't changed all that much from the past. Satsuki is stunned, not to mention hurt by the words her friend just said. It's a natural situation though, as Renako thinks about how it's Satsuki who wants to be an ideal and Mai who wants to show her true self. But it isn't over yet as Satsuki gets a second win, turning the line back at Mai. She's not much of an adult either, considering how much she cried in front of Satsuki. She may think she's grown up, but in truth, Mai just annoys everyone around her. As expected, Mai deflects, making it about her own carelessness, letting Satsuki blab everything to Renako. Satsuki counters even this, saying she's always been careless, another proof of not having changed. Mai always just says things will work out, and look where that's gotten her. Even that time she angered Renako was because of that. Mai remains strong, owning up to her past mistakes, to which Satsuki feigns congratulations. She even invites Renako to once again come over to her house to bear witness to her many photos of crying Mai. Now that really does Mai in, finally eliciting a response. She can't believe Satsuki would involve Renako in this. However, Satsuki hits back that it was actually her sleep that was ruined because of Mai's overnight crying. Satsuki mentions how she hates Mai being too used to being treated nicely, while Mai says she could have just said so if she didn't like her coming over. To this, Satsuki brings up a good point that Mai didn't have anywhere else to go anyway, but Mai refuses this truth. Things are really heating up in front of poor Renako, who is now physically involved in the situation as Mai grabs her arm. Mai proclaims next time she'll just go to her one and only lover, the woman she loves with all her heart. Things seemingly start to wrap up as Mai aims to ride off into the sunset with Renako and even get married. Unfortunately for her, Satsuki has one more trick up her sleeve. Chuckling with a dark aura gathering around her, Satsuki proclaims how Mai will be all alone. Mai is confused by her renewed confidence as it becomes Satsuki's turn to pull Renako to her side. With flushed cheeks, Satsuki reveals how she and Renako are dating. Understandably, Renako is in pain while Mai is in disbelief. Letting out a sigh, Mai doesn't buy the situation for a moment. As expected, she can't believe in a reality where someone would pick Satsuki over her, but Satsuki simply shows her phone to Mai's face. And there it is, the kiss photo from that one chapter.
That's impossible?
Mai collapses as Renako can only watch. Even she's shocked as to why Satsuki has that photo lying around. Satsuki, though, just glows with pride and joy from the situation. Renako says Mai may misunderstand after seeing that, but what is there to misunderstand? Everything that's in the photo is true. Closing the distance between them, Satsuki asks her if she'd like to continue where they left off, to which Renako pushes her off. Yeah, she was blushing like a cherry back then anyway. But of course Satsuki was. It was her first time. Renako returns to robot mode as she says it can't be her first time since she was half asleep. Despite Satsuki's insistence, Renako just can't accept having taken the first time of someone like Satsuki. As the two are fighting over this, Mai is still broken, sitting on the floor. Mai can't believe she lost. Renako then goes to comfort her lover, saying it's all a misunderstanding. But Satsuki's clutches return, refuting it all. It's true that they're lovers, it's true that they kissed. There's nothing here for anyone to misunderstand. Hearing that they're lovers, Mai is brought deeper into despair. Renako tries to clarify that it's only for 2 weeks. But it is indisputable that they are currently dating. Renako believes friends are something to be treasured, and here she is dating the friend of her dearest one. Mai shares the same thought, saying how Renako has cheated on her. But in that regard, it's simply not true as the two of them are Reima friends and they can't cheat. Probably. To add to that, it was Mai who told Renako to do as Satsuki pleased. Mai realizes now how that it was all a test. She was meant to stop Renako, but she failed. Renako can't believe this convoluted delusion of her being a pain. The two continue their comedy routine as a smirk forms on Satsuki's face. This is exactly what she wanted to see. Mai is on her knees, suffering in front of her. It's a glorious sight. Satsuki can now say her life is complete. The situation has now descended into chaos right before Renako's eyes. What can she do about all this? All of a sudden, Mai inquires about what will happen to them after their dating period is over. Satsuki confesses she hasn't thought that far ahead. Originally, they were to simply separate, but if Renako wants to, she's fine with continuing. Mai asks if they'll marry, and Satsuki says yes. To this, Mai accepts the challenge to not lose out on the many opportunities left to her. Satsuki is annoyed, but accepts the situation. Renako observes how, while Satsuki may be satisfied now, her plans are quite short-lived. Because of this, Renako is relieved that she has a careless side. Mai then stands and proposes a match with Satsuki. Understandably, the competitive tsundere has her interest piqued. Mai goes on to explain how her relationship with Renako is uncertain, and it could pose a problem for Satsuki down the road. She agrees with this, not liking the idea of needing to fend off Mai's advances to Renako moving forward, who, by the way, is feeling pretty objectified. Whatever the case, it's clear Mai won't just accept her loss, so this match must simply happen. Mai then starts having dreams about being married to Renako and taking turns giving birth, a frightening idea to the loser girl. Satsuki also joins in, saying that if she wins, Renako's life will be hers. They trade delusions of their totally lovey-dovey relationship, with Satsuki even going as far as to say they'd do the deed. Butting heads, it seems their battle with Renako on the line is now certain. With one last chibi shout, Renako barges into the discussion. The two look at her, confused, as if they weren't just deciding her future one-sidedly. With how things turned out, Renako's freedom is lost no matter what happens. There's no way she can have a lover, she just wants a friend. Mai points out that she worries that their relationship may end after breaking up, so she swears to stay with her forever, which Satsuki also matches, pretty uncaringly. Renako has had enough, she won't be taken by the flow anymore. She's made a decision, she won't be giving up, and so Renako will be joining their match too.
Excuse me?
Pardon me?
If only Ajisai knew the absolute tomfoolery that was going on.
私が恋人になれるわけないじゃん。無理無理。無理じゃなかった。
Still shouting, Renako supposes there isn't any issue with her joining in, and she's right, as the two don't really object. Mai even sees it as a perfect opportunity. She suggests they use the finals coming up to decide the winner of the competition, an idea Satsuki accepts with determination on her face. As expected though, Renako is a little less determined. Satsuki does bring up how it'll be a perfect moment to show off how she's been studying, but Renako can't possibly go up against the top 2 students in school. Glowing with delusion, Mai says she has unlimited potential as the person who got her to fall head over heels for her. Surely Renako could even take her #1 spot, right? Of course not, she's barely scraping average. Renako, gaining some sense, proposes that she decides the arena they shall battle in. It's only fair since it's her life, but to Renako's fear, Mai speaks up. With a blush on her cheeks, she says she wouldn't mind it if Renako were to use her win to declare her love for her. Staying true to her gag, Renako instantly rejects the idea, which has Mai delirious that it was Satsuki she's into after all. Clarifying her stance, if Renako were to win, the status quo would remain and they would all be friends with the two making up as well. Mai and Satsuki growl at each other, but they accept nonetheless, asking what it is exactly they'll compete in. Ta-da! Renako shows exactly what they'll compete in, a hip FPS game that's renamed to avoid copyright. With a grimacing face, Satsuki expresses how it's a low blow move, but Renako is fine if she backs out. On the other hand, Mai is game to play the game. Speaking of the game, Satsuki has nothing to play the game with since she's poor. Mai offers to lend her spare console, making Renako question why she even has a spare. As it turns out, she got another one so she could practice with hired help. She didn't realize she only needed one. The bourgeois way of thinking has enlightened Renako. Satsuki accepts the offer while Renako is twiddling her thumbs. Surely it'll all work out since they're doing what she's best at, right? Renako then makes it clear that the two had better make up properly if she wins. Glowing with anticipation, Mai also starts to say what would happen if she wins, but Renako stops her, knowing what she'll say. Meanwhile, with an emotionless face, Satsuki takes on the challenge, immediately going through walkthroughs. Just then, Renako receives a message. It's Ajisai, asking about how things are going. Renako proceeds to share what happened, leaving out the part about her body being in the line. Later on, Renako is now back at home, practicing on her console while on the phone with Ajisai. She seems to get the idea of them making up if Renako wins, but Ajisai is curious as to what would happen if Mai or Satsuki were to win. The question gets Renako to take a big gulp. There's just no way she can say she's getting married to the winner. Renako starts imagining various paths of dialogue she could take. With that flow, she imagines a path where Ajisai is happily surprised that someone even wants to marry her. The pain of that thought has Renako screaming, shocking Ajisai. Renako apologizes, saying truthfully what she imagined, getting Ajisai really worried. Being a true mommy, she asks further, trying to comfort Renako. Renako wonders for a second if it would be a humble brag if she were to answer truthfully. She decides to be vague, saying it'll be some sort of penalty. Ajisai goes along with it, telling her she must do her best. All of a sudden, Ajisai expresses her awe at how Renako is going so far to get them to make up. Renako asks her if she wants to play a game or something to make up for what happened before. But sadly, she has to take her lil bros out to play, so they can't. She apologizes, and Renako wholeheartedly understands. However, there is something they can do. Ajisai still has a bit of time, and she'd love to keep on talking with Renako. Renako's heart flutters at the invitation. Like a young pup in love, she starts yapping happily about what they could talk about. Since she has low speech skills, she eventually goes with the climate deck. Suddenly, Renako's little sister calls out. She doesn't care though, as she asks Ajisai about her plans for the summer. Apparently, she has a lot of places in mind, but she sadly can't go too far. This prompts Renako to think about how hard it is to care for little brothers. Through Renako's own sister shouting, Ajisai asks her to come over, to which she happily accepts. Ajisai starts talking about preparing a cheesecake, and just as Renako salivates at the idea, the little sister barges in. Renako turns to the door, defending her time with her angel, but someone besides her sister is standing there. It's Satsuki, declaring their lover status while casually dressed. Renako is in some serious trouble.
Hey, Rina-chan, looky look. Check out my certain impression of a certain hottie.
Whoa.
Hee, what do you think?
You look great.
Right? I'm great at impressions.
I don't think that's an impression. You just are a total babe, Kaho-chan.
Oh, please. It's only an impression. Gosh.
What are you even trying to say?
私が恋人になれるわけないじゃん。無理無理。無理じゃなかった？
Did that leave you hanging? Check out our other works here, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe.